Welcome to the Fine Line Video Journal. I'm Angie Kellen, and this is Shot Talk with Aki Fujimura. Aki is the CEO of D2S, and D2S is the managing company sponsor of the EBeam Initiative. Hello, Aki.
Hi, Angie.
Thanks so much for joining me again.
Thank you.
We have a lot to talk about since the last time we had a conversation. SPIE Photomask in Monterey has just concluded, and the EBeam Initiative has welcomed a brand new member, and you also had your 4th annual EBeam survey results. And on top of that, D2S and Advantest had an announcement together. So let's jump right in and let's talk about the key takeaways for you from SPIE Photomask.
Yeah, the Bacchus conference, as it's known. I think the topic this year was EUV. EUV masks have always been a very important topic, but I have a feeling it was in the past more academic in nature or more research-oriented, more out of interest, than the sense of urgency that I felt this year. And I think people are realizing that on the wafer side, EUV lithography is really going to happen now, and that EUV mask, the mask community better get ready for the EUV masks. One of the implications of this, there are many, many things, but one of the implications was is the complex mask shapes. And you mentioned the annual survey that the EBeam Initiative does, and one of the results clearly indicated that there is a general understanding that in EUV masks as well, the mask shapes are going to get very complex. And in EUV, there's going to be OPC required. And a long time ago, people thought that maybe you don't need OPC, but now it's pretty clear that OPC is required. There's other kinds of corrections that you need in EUV as well, like mid-range correction or things that you need for shadow correction and things like that. So it turns out that EUV masks are going to be just as complex to process as the ARF masks.
Now, previously in other Shot Talk segments, we have talked about complex masks, but mainly that was for ARF masks. What are the implications if complex masks are required for EUV now as well?
Yeah, complex masks are now required for no matter what happens, basically, right? So what that means is the mask community gets ready to be able to do not only 1D shapes, that is orthogonal shapes that are line edge versus line edge, or contacts, which are basically areas. And not only being able to expose those and be accurate to those, the mask community needs to be able to produce 2D shapes, that is even curvilinear, but maybe on the CAD database it's described as jogs of Manhattan, but on the mask surface, by the time you produce the mask, it's certainly going to be curvilinear shapes. And being able to do that, in able to manufacture them, to create them, to write the masks accurately, but also to be able to inspect them, to be able to do CD metrology on them, and all of the implications downstream become very important. In particular, D2S announced together with Advantest D2S GPU accelerated wafer plane analysis capability that works on top of the Advantest MVM SEM capability to be able to take the pictures on the mask, but be able to simulate the result, to do wafer lithography simulation, so that you can see what the critical dimension on the wafer would be based on the picture that you took on the mask. And being able to do things like that become more important when you have complex shapes as the basis of the mask consumption.
So let's talk about the EBeam Initiative and the survey results. The industry's attention to this has grown tremendously, and I know, in fact, I was there when Jan Willis had presented the survey results at the EBeam Initiative event. It was standing room only. It's really amazing. So I'm interested to know, what are the most interesting results that you thought that came out of the survey?
Yeah, I thought several things were interesting. As always, this survey is really good, I think. The biggest thing that came out, I thought, was the expectations for multi-beam, or the demand for multi-beam machines. The 96% of the mask makers surveyed thought that multi-beam machines are going to be in high volume use by 2018, and that's very, very high expectation. So demand is clearly there. Now, why is that? Other aspects of the survey point to the need for multi-beam machines. One of them is the Sematech survey that they used to do had always indicated that there is going to be increased number of mask layers per wafer, and we kind of continued that with the questions that we asked about it from the EBeam Initiative. And this year, for the first time, the biggest number of masks that you need for wafer had crossed the 100 mask barrier. So, many masks are required. Not only that, another question asked about what is the longest write time of a mask that you needed in the last 12 months. And Sematech had been asking that question too. And the last Sematech survey that was done in 2013 indicated that 60 hours was the longest. And in this question for this past 12 months, it was 72 hours. So each mask, or at least some of the masks, are getting longer. And there are many more masks. So what that means is you need more mask writing machines, right? You need to improve the capacity of mask writing. In addition to that, it's even worse. The need for dose modulation, to need to be able to use higher levels of dose, is also increasing. What used to be 20 or 25 microcoulombs per centimeter squared now is increasing to 40, and now it's going to be, people are expecting to be using 100 microcoulombs per centimeter squared. So the amount of time you need to expose each shot is increasing. Not only that, there was another question that we had where we asked about dose modulation. That is the ability to change the dose for each shot in a BSP writing scheme and be able to modulate that. So some things require more dose, more strength, and other things require less dose. You want to be able to change that. Now, 5 years ago, nobody did dose modulation at all. And this year's survey indicates that already today, over half the people are doing dose modulation. And by 2017, almost everybody is going to be doing dose modulation. So all of these things point to the increased difficulty, the complex shapes, the smaller shapes, and all of that in mask making. And they indicate that they're the reasons why there's so much expectation for multi-beam based machines.
Now, sticking with the EBeam Initiative, I also understand you welcomed a new member. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, we're very, very happy to welcome Zeiss to the EBeam Initiative. We used to have DNP as the oldest company. They were a 139-year-old company. Zeiss is a 169-year-old company. And Carl Zeiss, the founder of it, founded the company when he was 30. His birthday, 200th birthday, is coming up September 11th of 2016. So it's an incredible thing to be able to change with the times. It's hard to make a company go for 10 years. 169-year-old company. That's an incredible achievement. And so we're very, very honored to have them. What they do now in the EBeam community is they do EBeam-based repair of masks. And it's a very interesting topic. Marcus does a very good Tech Talk video on this journal.
Well, great. Well, Aki, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. And I know our viewers always appreciate your insights. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Angie.
And thank you for joining us, and we hope you'll join us for future editions of the Fine Line Video Journal.